Welcome to an example in which we are looking at a polar graph and trying to identify which of these 5 equations match this polar graph. To do this, you should look at the notes I provided for you. Let me find them here. There they are, which is at the top of the module, the 5th module, the 10.345 notes. Here it is, and go to number 5, polar graphs. So here's a bunch of roses down here. And so these are equations of the form r equals a sine in theta or a cosine in theta. Basically, if n is odd, you have n leaves. If it's even, you have 2n, and you have double. So notice if you have 2 theta, you have 4 leaves. If you have 4 theta, you have 8 leaves. Whereas if you have an odd, those are for even numbers. If you have an odd number like 3, it stays the same. 5, there's 5. So 3 leads to 3, 5 leads to 5. But if you have an even, like 4, it doubles. It goes to 8 and 2 goes to 4. All right, so we have this. We have 4 leaves, so we're saying it's cosine 2 theta, or it could be sine 2 theta. So we come down and we go, okay. So this is either sine or cosine 2 theta. So, and we have both. Sine and cosine 2 theta, don't we? Okay. So which one is this going to be? Well, one more note at the top of the notes. If you look right here at the top of the notes, it says polar graphs with cosine always center on the x-axis. Polar graphs with sine always center on the y, except roses which may or may not center on the y but never go on the x. So basically cosine go on x, sine goes on y, or at least not x. So what do we have here? This petal, this is the x-axis. So notice the petal of the rose right there is centered on the x-axis. So what does that mean? It must be cosine. It must be the cosine of 2 theta. It must be this one, because it's centered on the x-axis. Here's a rose that's not, this is a previous problem. Here's a rose that's not centered on the x-axis. See, here's the x-axis. There's not a petal. There's no petal centered on the x-axis. That one is sine, not cosine. That's sine of 2 theta. Whereas this one is centered on the x-axis, so it's cosine of 2 theta.